you today?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we're going to begin with our centering song this morning. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. Let us come together in consciousness. There is only one power, one presence, one God, one Spirit, undivided and eternal. One power back of everything, one intelligence behind it all. One love from which everything springs. And this ever-present, all-pervading Spirit is good and only good. God is infinite goodness, a power and a presence and a pattern of perfection. The knower of all, the giver of everything. God gives of itself as unconditional love. A love that fills the universe. A love that propels all of life into its magnificence. And through this love, God expresses as beauty and power and balance and harmony. And God manifests as an ever eternal cycle of new beginnings. New and fresh. Every instant a new choice. And so I bless this service today, knowing that we are, as we awaken, a light onto each other and out into the valley and out into the world. And so it is.
And so it is.
So good morning, it's Sunday. We're in the beginning of the next year, 2022, and it has its interesting components already. So I welcome you in. I'm Beth Haas. I'm one of the practitioners here. Reverend Catherine is not here this week, and so she asked me to host. This is my sophomore launch on hosting, so be gentle with me, as we say, just heard in the opening song. And so if you're new here, welcome in. This is our Sunday service. We are an intentional community. And what that means for me is that we live our spiritual lives intentionally. We realize that we have a choice in every moment, in every situation, in every encounter. And so the intentionality is to be able to know that by choice we can walk that path. And so we welcome you in today. It is a very loving community if you're joining us for the first time. If you're not, you know that. So after service, we have a coffee service down the hall in the breezeway, and you're more than welcome to join us and to experience what it's like to be with like-minded people. So I welcome you in. I invite you to stand. Oh, I wanted to also note, and if you have been here before, we have words to the song. We haven't had that for a while. We've had to sort of fake sing. So now you can belt it out. So I'm going to turn this over to Danielle, and here we go.
All right, yes, you've got words, and this song this morning is a call and response song. So I'm going to sing, and you just sing it right back to me. If you would like to stand, let's sing it together. Here's a little practice for us. I'm going to sing, I am a light, I am a light, I am a light, I am a light. See how that's going to go? Pretty easy. And here we go. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the place, this is the time, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I see the joy, I see the joy in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. I see the joy, I see the joy in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine. I'm living love every day, love every day. I'm living love every day, I'm living love every day. I'm living love every day, I'm living love every day. Spreading peace along the way, spreading peace along the way. Right time, right place, right place. Living love every day, every day. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light, I am the light in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. I am a light, I am the light, I am a light, I am the light in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the place, this is the time, this is the time to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All right, well done, everyone.
So this is our moment of gratitude, and I would just suggest that we all be very grateful that we have words back, so that we look like we know what we're doing, and to the progress. To be grateful for progress. So we have increments of coming back into the things that for some of us we were used to, and it's coming back. It's just like the past 2 years. Big learning curve there. So this morning, I thought our moment of gratitude could be around perspective. I drive from Oceanside, so I get to go up and over this big hill when I come here. And there's a moment, it's almost like there's Star Wars music in the background where I know I'm going to come across the crested, there's going to be the mountains, and this morning there were 5 hot air balloons, and it was one of those beautiful moments of what I expect when I hit that. I actually could see the mountains in LA too. And it suggested to me the gratitude for perspective. So I'm going to invite you to just take a breath and close your eyes and kind of center into that place in your heart space where there is gratitude. Just simply waiting to be invited, to be a little more noticed. And allow yourself to think about those moments when you have a greater perspective on a situation, in a relationship, for a decision. That sometimes we're in the forest, can't see the trees because we're just surrounded by the details. And then we are given those glorious moments of rising up or out or the lens pulls back and we have a bigger perspective on the situation and what is ours to do. And so find that in yourself. There may be a current situation or relationship or decision, or it may be something you're coming out on the other side of. And just allow yourself to link that memory or those thoughts or that awareness with the gratitude of being given perspective in just the perfect moment to know what's next, what's clear, that it is not a solitary journey. And just feel into that gratitude for knowing that there is always another way to see something, and in that is the clarity. And so when you're ready, you can come back. Just bring that gratitude with you, and it will show up all day and all week in different ways. It always does. And so I'm going to invite Mary Beth Messer, our practitioner, to do the reading for today.
Our spiritual reading today comes from our book for January, What's in the Way is the Way by Mary O'Malley. The most skillful way I have discovered to be in relationship with presence is to ask questions without looking for an answer. This may seem strange at first because you're so used to asking questions and then trying to figure out the answer. But that approach asks your mind for the answers, and your mind is mostly lost in the clouds of your conditioning, cut off from the wisdom at the heart of life. Looking for answers in your mind might lead to tension and frustration. The mind works well for objective questions that have definite answers. But have you ever closely watched yourself when you were trying to figure out the answer to a subjective question such as, should we get married or not? Or should I buy this car or not? One moment getting married or buying the car seems like a good idea, and then the next moment it doesn't. That is what it's like to use your mind for the answers to many of the questions of your life. Instead, you can go directly to the intelligence at the heart of life. To ask a question and then let it go is one of the most powerful tools you can learn on this journey back to your being. The power of a question isn't in the answer, it is in the question itself. What is important is to simply ask a question, then bring your attention back to this immediate moment without allowing the question to work its magic from underneath your everyday awareness. Why is this so powerful? When you ask a question without looking for the answer, you are creating a space inside of you where the intelligence of life can be heard. It is guaranteed that life will fill that space with the answer at the right time, for the energy of life always fills a void, and so it is.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and days in all is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
So, some more love to Danielle and Randy. Gratitude for that music every Sunday. It's so much a part of our Sunday community feel. So we have a guest speaker. Our guest speaker today is Sonia Prince. She is a spiritual practitioner and speaker with a gift for helping people move toward success and manifest their dreams. She is the host of the Divine Truth Talk Women's Program. In addition to being a speaker and spiritual leader, Sonia is an award-winning singer. I was aware of that when we were singing. My voice was the one coming through Danielle's mic. Okay. She sings for community organizations and fundraisers, including Corona Chamber of Commerce, Relay for Life, and the Seroptimists. You may recognize her from winning first place at Menifee's Got Talent and Canyon Lakes Got Talent, or as the city queen and spokesperson for the Menifee's Chamber of Commerce. Sonia is currently completing her master's program in ministry with a specialty in spiritual consciousness. So she's just about ready to have the Rev in front of her name too. Reverend Catherine asked me to add that she, Catherine, is thrilled to have Sonia with us today, but sad to miss being present to hear her in person. Sonia began the School of Ministry while Reverend Catherine was the dean, and she knew from the moment she met her that Sonia had something special. Her consciousness, presence, and energy are inspiring and infectious. Ooh. Okay, in the good way. She's a good one to watch, says Reverend Catherine. She knows that great things are in Sonia's future, and we will be inspired by her today. So please join me in welcoming Sonia Prince.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had to put on my Energizer Bunny pack. Turn that on. I don't think I need this. So good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so honored to be here this morning with you, and I've heard some juicy things as I was listening to the song. I hope you have the time of your life, or have the time of your life. And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that's why we're in this teaching, so we can learn and use the principles to have the time of our life. Would you agree?
Yep.
All right, so as she said, I am a ministerial intern with my center is Center for Spiritual Living, Menifee Valley. I am a student. I graduate in June with my master's degree. Yay! And I get to be here with you today to talk about living everyday wonder. So that's what the song was about, that was what the reading was about, and that's what we'll dive into a little bit deeper today. So I always like to start my service with just a recap of what we've learned, because it's important that we not just sit here in the seats, but we use the principles and the teachings that we're being given Sunday after Sunday. We take those things in, we embody what we've heard, and we use them in our everyday life. So today I want to just go over the global vision, and the theme for 2020 is living everyday wonder. So that is moving us in a direction where we can see everything in our lives in that wondrous view. So the theme is everyday wonder is that innate in all of life and the majesty all around us. And we need to explore that a little bit more. So we recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary. So in the first week, we were introduced to living everyday wonder. And it was told to us that we need to have a sense of awe, a sense of curiosity and wonder at our daily life. And not just look at wonders like wonders of the world. We see the Grand Canyon, we go, ah. We see the Great Wall of China, we go, oh wow, beautiful. But what about those wonders in every day? What about the things around our homes that make our life a little bit better? What about those wonders? So last week I heard Reverend Catherine talk about her Instapot. She said she had an Instapot. Now, why? Who thought of that? Some woman probably said to her husband, I am sick of cooking these things all day. I need something that does it instantly. So you see the wonder in that? All the things that we use in our daily life, someone thought of that. There had to be a thought in that. There had to be a why. Why or how? A why or a how? How can I make my life more easier? And so these things were invented. So I want you to start looking at everything in your life as in wonder. So in week 2, we learned that wonder everywhere. And that oriented us to wonder in the grandeur and the beauty that's around us again, like the rose, the beauty of a rose, or any flower for that matter. The beauty of the rocks, or the animals, the rivers, the sun, and the moon. There are wonders in that. She also talked about that wonder of oneness in community last week. And she mentioned Ubuntu, which is an African saying for I am because you are. So we are all connected. And then she talked about a Mayan phrase that you are the other me. Just think about that for a minute. You are the other me, and I am the other you. So we're all connected in that oneness. Just kind of let that marinate in you. Because we have this song that Karen Drucker wrote, I see the face of God. So when I say that I am the other you, or you are the other me, that means I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing the face of God in each and every face that I come across. And then we moved to week 3 where we embraced the now. And the now was that curiosity, the art of bringing attention and immediate experience together. And it said that when we face challenges, curiosity allows us to relate to them rather than relating from them. And then there was a saying by Eckhart Tolle that said, when our minds are fixed on the future, we suffer from fear of the future, anxiety, we don't know what's going to happen, and worry. When our mind is fixed in the past, that means we're suffering from regret. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I should have done it this way. We may have sadness, even some hatred might arise, and depression, because we're thinking about what we should have, could have, would have done. But when we live in the present moment, we get to say yes. We get to say yes. And we get to open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities and greater awareness. You with me?
Yep.
Okay. And so now we move into week 4, where we question everything. We ask the question why, and that ignites our curiosity. And we practice spiritual discernment, and we allow Spirit to guide us and for us to arrive at the best decision possible. And that's what it means to live in the question and not to rush to find the answer. Sometimes we're in so much rush to find the answer. We got to solve this thing. But what we need to go back to is just sitting in the question and allowing spiritual discernment and allowing that stillness. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that today. So, I have a question for you. Did you know that on average, children ask 70 to 100 questions a day? And so that means that they're born, and we are born with a natural curiosity. So when we're young, we desire to learn everything about us. If you ever notice a child, the first thing they do is they put stuff in their mouth. They pick it up, they put it in their mouth. When they first discover their hands, when they first discover their feet, that's wonder. The wonder of the youth. And the first thing they do is they take stuff and they put it in their mouth and want to see how it tastes, what it feels like. So, that is living in that curiosity. We have grandchildren now. I have 2 granddaughters. I'm so happy. That puts a whole new perspective on life. And so when they come over, they're always asking why. Papa, why? Grandma, why? Why? And so they're living in that curiosity and that wonder. So they have a desire to understand the world around them. And so they're living in that why, that awe, that curiosity. But as we move into our adult life, we ask about 20 questions a day. With that curiosity has kind of moved on, has kind of subsided. And we might be asking questions like, honey, what do you want for dinner? Hey, we're sitting down. What movie do you want to watch? There was a cartoon that my husband used to like, and it would say, what do you want to do tonight? And the other one would say, well, what do you want to do tonight? And the other bird would say, well, what do you want to do tonight? And then the other bird would say, what do you want to do tonight? And he said, oh, not that again. So we're always asking these kinds of questions as adults. Somehow we lose that curiosity that we had as a child. And so I'm saying to you that we need to get back to wondering why. We need to get back to looking at the beauty that is surrounding us. So often when we drive in the morning, do we ever look up to look at the beauty, to look at the mountains in the backdrop? Or are we just on a mission to get where we need to go? Driving. That same routine, we go that same routine. And it's almost like hypnosis. We don't even remember how we got there when we got there. We just kind of are on autopilot. So my invitation is to don't be on autopilot, but look around you each and every day and be in that curiosity, in that awe, because you're missing something. You're missing something. So why is such a tiny word, but a big question? So question everything and ask new questions. And by asking, we can see a bigger picture and challenge our limiting beliefs. By asking questions, we start to see and do things differently. By asking questions, we learn new things. By asking questions, we are more creative and innovative. We get to be more creative and innovative when we're asking questions. That curiosity sparks creativity, and our willingness to ask questions will expand our world. And that's what we want. We don't want to live in a box. We want to be expanded. We want to expand our world. So I ran across the story of, his name is Toyota, not Toyota. But he is the innovator and founder and CEO of Toyota. And so, I couldn't say his first name, so I wasn't even going to try. So he said much of his success of his business is attributed to a single question. And that question is why? So he developed a technique known as the 5 whys. So when a problem occurs, the question is why. So he asked a series of 5 times why in an attempt, and my husband would love this word because he says it all the time, drill down. He's an engineer. He likes terms like that. So as an attempt to drill down and determine the root cause of the problem so he can make necessary adjustments in the company, in the product, to ensure that whatever is happening doesn't happen again. So this is how his business is continuing to improve, by asking that question, why, and getting down to the bottom of why. So in Science of Mind, we do something similar when we use spiritual mind treatment by drilling down to that false belief, creating a new mental equivalent. That's what we do as practitioners when we listen in a practice session. We're trying to drill down and we're trying to use our spiritual ear to hear what that limiting belief is. So we can drill it down and then change it by offering a mental, because what you think about, you bring about. So our job is to drill it down, find out what that is, and then offer a mental equivalent for something different. Because we know that when we're with the client, they're getting what they think about. So we kind of have to listen with that spiritual ear to find out what that limiting belief is. So we ask questions and know that there is an infinite intelligence always available within us. And we can access it through the sacred inquiry of spirit. So we use spiritual practices such as meditation, spiritual mind treatment, visioning. And when we vision, we begin by centering in the oneness in all our spiritual practices. We start by knowing and being centered. I heard this morning, join me in consciousness, the consciousness of the one. And that's where we start. We start by creating and centering, getting in that center place of that oneness and anchoring in love. All we need is love. So we ask expansive questions, envisioning, and open-ended questions in order to catch the highest idea. And that's what we do in visioning. What is God's highest idea for my, you fill in the blank, relationship, prosperity, abundance, health and well-being, new job, whatever it might be. What is God's highest idea of me and it, whatever that might be? And then we use spiritual discernment, and we seek divine guidance, which helps clarify the what. What is mine to do? So in spiritual discernment, we're asking, what is mine to do? What is the next indicated step on this journey? Which direction do I go in? So that's what we're asking in spiritual discernment. What is the next step for me? So these practices bring us into contact with that indwelling presence. So Ernest Holmes in our Declaration of Principles says, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become revealers of truth who lives in close contact with this indwelling God. So I have another story for you. And this is something that I had the privilege to do yesterday. So I had this privilege of sitting on the practitioner panels. Now, I've sat on practitioner panels before. And it's indescribable when you're sitting in consciousness and knowing for someone. You're holding that high holy watch for them as you ask these questions to them, and you're listening with that spiritual ear, and you're listening with your heart to hear what's being said and what's coming through them. And so yesterday, I was on the panel to panel 6 Ukrainian students. So just sit with that a minute. 6 Ukrainian students. So we all have seen the news and we've heard what's going on over in the Ukraine. And we know that right now there is over 100,000 Russian troops sitting at the border of the Ukraine. So what I recognize about these women that are sitting for these practitioner panels is they're watching from a higher point of view. They're sitting and knowing and living in that indwelling presence within them. And so what I heard from them is that they had a higher calling on their life. And then they knew that something within them was wanting to be birthed. And so they searched. They said, we are curious and we want to know the truth of our being. So in the Buddhist philosophy, there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So they found science of mind. Now they probably have lived their life with lack, limitation, the threat of war, the threat of poverty, all kinds of things that they've grown up seeing and witnessing and being involved in. But they were looking for something more. They knew that there was something more inside of them, and that wanted to be birthed within them. So they found science of mind. And they start taking classes, and they start living from that place, using the spiritual principles that we teach to make their life better, to bring more clarity into their life, to bring a new awareness in their life of who and whose they are. Now, knowing that they could be really in trouble by learning all of this. This new philosophy. But they're willing to step fully into it, to change their lives for the better. To not focus on what's going on around them, but focus on the truth of their being and who they are. And one of the ladies expressed to me that she has started to talk to her children about it, what she's learning. So she's hoping to teach one person at a time, to bring them around to this teaching so they can live a better life, so they can know the truth of their being. And so it reminds me of how I came to Science of Mind as well. I was working for 16 years in this office, this corporate office, and I was, administrator, human resources, sweeper, and bathroom cleaner, and, I say I have arrived when I was on the roof turning on the sump pump to drain the water off the roof. I am a corporate executive. But I knew that there was something more for me to do. I knew that there was something wanting to be birthed in me. So I left that job and I said to myself, the next thing that I do as a career will feed not only my soul, but I will give back to my community. I will give back. I will give more of myself. I will not be stuck in this mindset that this is all there is. These four walls and this stuff that I'm doing every day and checking this box and counseling that person and cleaning the bathroom and, like I said, on the roof doing the sump pump. You know, there's more to me than that. So I left that job and I went to work for a metaphysical center. And so what I learned from that is that there's a lot of us out there that are looking for something different, something is wanting to be birthed into us. You know, it was like a tribe of people that have come together, learning meditation, learning spiritual practices, learning, you know, tarot and stuff like that too, which is fine. You know, whatever gets you there. Crystals and this and that. But what I found was there was this manager that I was like, you know, everybody's running around, learning all these things. She's so calm. She's so peaceful. Instead of worrying about, you know, there was the 4 Ds that we couldn't talk about: death, disease, disaster, divorce, that kind of stuff. So when people would come in on the weekends and they would want readings and stuff to talk about that kind of stuff, you know, what is my significant other doing? Am I going to get that new job? And that kind of stuff. I'm not judging. I'm just saying what it was about. It was also about meditation and things like that, learning spiritual stuff as well. But I noticed she had something a little bit different. So I asked her, I said, why is it that you live in this peaceful place, this calm place? You're not getting readings and this and that and the other. And she said, I am studying to be a practitioner of religious science. And I said, what is that? What is that? Because I want some of it. So she was gracious enough to sit me down in her office and started. She said, this is what I'm learning today. Prac 1. And can you help me with some of these things? And I was like, I need to learn how to do spiritual mind treatment. And I was like, right there. Yes. And so I went through that with her, you know, in a sense. But I said to my husband, we were moving, and I said, we need to see if there is a Church of Religious Science in the new area that we're living in, because I have to be connected with that. And so we moved to Menifee, and bam, there's a center right there. So we jumped in with both feet. We started taking classes, foundation class first. Our kids went to the youth church, and they were privileged enough to be able to join CSL Temecula in camp. They would go to camp every time with this center. So we jumped in with both feet. But I'm getting off my notes. So I just want you to know that what we found is a beautiful thing. So for the ladies in the Ukraine, when I heard from them, I heard their heart. And with all their experience, that yearning to be something greater, to be something more, to have the light to shine within them and shine it in their community. And that's what they said to me. So living in the question makes us available to spirit. It creates a space in which the infinite intelligence can be heard, a space that is sure to be filled with the answers at the right time, because spirit always fills a void. And I heard that as Beth was talking today. She talked about perspective. She talked about, you know, that void, filling that void. So asking a question signals to life that you are ready to live the answer. And then life lives it through you at the appropriate time. So, in wrapping this talk up, I want to ask you to please reignite your curiosity, that curiosity that we were born with, and ask more questions more often. A great place to start is to begin asking the questions in all aspects of your life, all things you're interested in, and of the world around you. And don't passively accept things around you as being just as they are. Ask why they are. And realize that the limits of what you can be interested in is unlimited, is limitless. Age does not determine. You can do whatever you want to do. Be curious about it. Some people in this room might have wanted to be a painter. Some people in this room may have wanted to be a poet. Some people in this room may have wanted to write a book. It's never too late. There's infinite possibilities for your life. Do your spiritual practices, such as joining a spiritual book study group, such as reading a spiritual book, going into meditation often, visioning, and using spiritual discernment. Because when we are inquisitive, life becomes an endless opportunities to learn and grow. And there's a quote by Albert Einstein that says, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious."
Yep.
So what are you curious about? So make a sacred inquiry and listen. Live in the question and allow life to live the answers through you. Seek first the kingdom, the kinship, the oneness with God, and experience in that oneness the glorious wonders of every single day. And I am complete. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that message. That was amazing. Yeah, give her a hand again. Thank you for being here today. That was a really special treat, and we have another special treat this morning. It is my pleasure to announce our guest artist this morning. Would you please welcome our very own Pat Clark. Thank you for that talk, Sonia. That was beautiful. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows, and I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows, and I believe for everyone the smallest prayer can still be heard, and I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of walk on through the wind, walk on through the wind, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll
So thank you, Pat. Again, let's give some love. And let's give some love to Sonia. Just bringing light today. It was just fun. I kept thinking about that questioning and asking why and what happened to the 70 to 100 times that I do it. Now it is, what do you want for dinner? Yeah, so thank you for that. Thank you for bringing your perspective for us today. How lucky are we to get up on Sunday for this day and have the messages and the singing and the gifts and all those things that are always around us, and to stop and to acknowledge those. So, oh, sorry. Oh, I thought something was muffling. I don't want to think this is becoming automatic, and yet I thought, why is the sound muffling? So there's my face. So this is the time of our offering, and the time where we are able, in a spiritual practice, by means of our gifts, to set that intentional message in our own lives, in our community, that this is something that we are a part of, and it is a part of us. And so when we give from that place of our hearts, it is with the intention that we have work to do in the valley, that we have our own personal missions, and that we're part of something bigger. And so by giving of our tithes and our offerings, we are saying that this has meaning and it has value, and that it is part of something that is, in the way I see it, is the giving and the receiving is all part of the same energy. And so we give to be able to be a part of something bigger than us. And that is the mission and the vision for this center. So if you will take your tithes and your offerings, and if you're online, I believe there is going to be an address to be able to send these things to, or to follow up by calling the office. But if you'll take those and put those on your heart, and just let yourself connect through your hands, through your heart, through your offerings, just as Sonia said, to go within and connect and know that this is a giving that is of such spiritual intention, to keep this in our lives, to be part of something that goes out and multiplies, just as we say when we are giving our affirmation of abundance. So just allow yourself that moment to feel that connection, that what you are giving comes back, pressed down and multiplied. And so I believe the words are up there. This is something that I always worried I was going to forget. Once I get started, I remember it. But if you need the start word, it's up there. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And so we give from that place. So thank you.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need.
So it's time for the announcements. We are back up and running. It has that feel of that energy that's starting to move as this year gets up off of the holiday part of itself and it's starting to move. So here we go. So our Science of Mind book study meets on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock on Zoom. They are reading The Greatest Secret by Rhonda Byrne, who also wrote The Secret? Yes, okay, The Greatest Secret. More on that. So please contact the practitioners Ann Woodward or Julie Mims if you need information on how to join. This group has been going for a long time, so they will welcome you with open arms. Our men's ministry meets on Wednesdays, both online and in person at Journey's Restaurant. And you can contact Reverend Michael Summers, who is here today, if you need some information on how to get in on that one. Our Sisters in Spirit group meets on the third Thursday of the month at 9 o'clock in the morning at Journey's Restaurant, starting with this new year. So if you all would like to join that group, you can contact, I believe Julie Mims also is kind of coordinating that, so she can give you the details on that. Our CSL-TV Community Connection on Wednesday evenings, online, 7 p.m., Reverend Catherine If you haven't done this, it's an opportunity to take what was talked about on Sunday and kind of open it up a little more, drill down, and look at how does this apply to me? How is this helping me walk in my spiritual path? So it's an hour of talk and meditation and more community. So if you're interested in that, I believe the website is, the connection is on our website. It's the Zoom connection. If that's something that you are curious about, this would be a good time to kick that one off, having spoken of curiosity. And for all of the early risers here and there, 7 a.m. starting tomorrow, for 15 minutes, Reverend Catherine is going to be doing a spiritual practice. It's more than a workshop, it's more than a class. This is, you're diving in. This is a deep dive, called Cultivating Abundance. It's based on the practices of the Little Abundance book by John Randolph Price. You can either email Reverend Catherine at revcatherine@csltv.org. If you're here, there's a sign-up sheet out on the table right outside the doors. And if you sign up on that, Cecilia will be texting or sending those contacts, your email contact, so that you can get the Zoom connection. This starts tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. So if you'd like to, it is a phenomenal thing. I've done it numerous times, and it's not just money raining from the heavens, but you will start to see the abundance in all those aspects and facets of your life. So I really invite you and encourage you to, if you've been thinking this is the first of the year, it's time to kind of get my life going in that direction. This is a great way to start it. The next announcement, I'm going to read it verbatim. We are bringing back our favorite workshop, Vision Boards, with Beth Haas. So we are doing another Vision Board workshop. We're doing it on February 6th, which I think is 2 weeks from today. We're going to do it right after service, so we'll start at noon down in the social hall. If you're interested in that, if you've never done it, you gotta come. If you have done it, you know you gotta come. So it's kind of like that part. And it's not just for women. I always love it when the men decide to step into this practice, because you're going to set a vision for yourself. And then at the end of the year, you will go back and say, wow, I can't believe how much I called in. So it's fun, and yet it's very powerful. It's very spiritual. So there's also a sign-up sheet out in next to the sign-up sheet for Catherine's class, and magazines. Even if you can't come or don't want to come or not sure that's your thing or whatnot, we need magazines, because if you've done a vision board, it's a whole lot of going and finding those images that speak to you. So I am really on the request train for lots of magazines. I've been hitting up my libraries down there, and they are sparse. So if you have magazines, there's Cecilia has a basket, and you can drop them off or bring them next week. So that'll be in 2 weeks. And the last thing on here, we're doing Super Bowl, and that's Super Bowl, S-O-U-P-E-R, Super Bowl, because this is when the food banks find that it's the lowest for donations, kind of following holidays. So we're collecting cans of soup and stew all month until the Super Bowl, which is the 13th, and we're trying to beat our best from last year and the year before. So if you want to bring in cans of soup or stew, kind of in the theme of Super Bowl, there's also a box for that, and then I believe that's all taken to the food bank, so we have a way to be part of that process. And any other things that you might have questions about on our website, events coming up, classes, things, good stuff. Okay. All right. So please join me now. We're going to be doing a healing prayer. This is what we do to kind of bring this service to a close. And so I'm going to ask you to center yourself, much like you do before meditation, as Sonia talked about, all those practices we do to bring ourselves in alignment. So just close your eyes, allow your eyes to close, or at least to soften, and go within and connect. One of the practices over and over in science and mind books and classes, pray ceaselessly. It becomes that connection. And so we pray ceaselessly in our minds and our hearts. We connect to the one. That one mind, that one heart, that one love, that one intelligence unbroken, which is the breath of life itself. This is God. The presence, the essence, the continual flow, the giving and the receiving. This is the breath of life. And this is the connection, the divine connection, which unifies each and every person, both in this room, in this valley, and on this planet. We are one. And when our minds unite and connect in that fashion, it is powerful love. And so I know from this place of divine connection, there is only light, there is only love, there is only intelligence, healing each aspect within the individual life and within the collective life on earth in every moment. It is a healing process. And anything which is not in alignment with that simply falls away. And as we allow that belief to take hold in powerful ways, we feel the love, we feel the return of that light, that foundation beneath our feet, that clarity, that vision. This is God in action. This is what it means to pray ceaselessly in the most purest, most divine sense of the word, just knowing all is well, for God is here, and so it is.
So it is.
And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Danielle.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was in hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Let's hear you now. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And so as we go forth this week, we go forth forth with that curiosity, back to asking the questions, what is my purpose, where am I going, and let's go for it now.
Yes.
And have a good week. So it is.